Hello, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz. I will be guiding you on this journey today. This is the reading for the 3-5 human design profile, the Martyr Heretic. If you don't know your human design profile, there is a link in the description for you to grab your human design body graph, and your profile will be one of the bits of information specific to your design on there. Now, you don't have to know a single thing about human design in order for these messages to resonate. The intention behind these messages is to be an additional avenue or an additional source to receive a message, because not every 3-5 is Pisces or a Capricorn, right? So they're not necessarily meant to be educational. I try my best not to use a ton of human design language, and most times I don't use any because I kind of forget. I kind of forget that we're even talking about human design, but sometimes I'll throw in there like strategy and authority or, whatever. But anyway, I don't want the message to like get lost or confused in language that is like new, because I know for me, when I first started looking into human design, I was like, this sounds like gibberish to me. Like, I know the words, I understand the words, but in this context I have no clue. So anyway, what else? Is that it? We have the Four of Wands, Judgment, Son of Cups or the Knight of Cups, and the Daughter of Swords or the Page of Swords. Let me just make sure these are all in frame. Okay, let me just kind of move things over a little bit here. I don't know why this feels like a standoff to me. First impressions. It's like a standoff in the sense of both parties, if there's more than one person involved here, are like waiting for the other to make a decision. And the only reason why I kind of feel that, it's not necessarily like these cards are, I mean, they certainly can be. We'll of course go through each one of them, but like the Knight of Cups, right, is looking towards the Judgment card, and Four of Wands over here. And even that the glass is kind of like paused right near their lips, again, like it's just giving me a feeling of hesitation. And then the Page of Swords over here, even just like their body language, like having their arms crossed, and thinking, and they're also looking in this direction, but they would also be looking at the back of the Knight of Cups here. So I don't know. That's interesting. But like I said, it's not even necessarily like these cards are like indicative of that, like in their meaning, but yeah. A hesitation to make an offer, or a hesitation to share your feelings or emotions about things. Maybe even also to like trying to decide or even like decipher was going to come out, what your perspective is, like what your belief is about whatever the situation is. Like, what do I actually, like, what is my thought process here, that type of thing. So we start with the Four of Wands, which is generally a card of celebration. A lot of people designate the Four of Wands as being like a marriage card as well, because I mean it does talk about unity. And anytime I say the word unity, I think of Rick and Morty. Um, but union, even marriage, right? Like when we think marriage, that is almost like blending two things together, right? It is committing. It is two people, like signing a legal contract that they are they are bound and they can't just break up. They have to sign other legal paperwork to do that, so again, like just I'm thinking of like the broad term of marriage, which is bringing two things together, marrying two things together, because I believe legally only two people can be married, like, right? um I really don't know, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway, so again, there is like a celebration aspect that comes along with the Four of Wands. Wands have to do with action. It's the motivation behind the actions that we take, creativity, passion. How are you communicating those things? What actions are you taking in your creative process, in your, towards your passions? I also see wands as being information by way of experience, which I feel is like kind of a very third liney type of thing, like trial and error. Because truly, you do have to try things in order to figure out if they work or not. Do you like them or not? Do you want to keep doing it or not? Right? And truly, like the only way to figure those things out is by doing. And by doing, you get information. So that's all, wands wrapped up in a nutshell, basically. So when we get to the Four of Wands, there's this level of satisfaction. There's, a foundation. That celebration is that the actions that you have taken have gotten you to this point of support, of, just even having people around you to, again, support you, having structures or systems in place that also support what you're doing. Because also too, the Four of Wands is usually, there's like a gondola, or like whatever they call that, where there's four wands, of course, hello, usually like in a square. So people will also attribute that to 1111, which, I mean, if you see 1111 or 111 or 11, whatever, that's usually you're on the right path type of thing. It's usually like a positive omen for heading in the right direction or doing the right, quote unquote, right thing. Even, with this fire here, right, using those four wands to build this bonfire, in a way where it is sturdy, and all those wands are like leaning on each other. Again, even like the support aspect that I mentioned before. So, I mean, we start with that, right? So there's something here where the actions that you have taken, maybe you are just recognizing, feeling good about where you're at. Maybe there's some sort of like outside recognition with that too. Maybe you feel like you're at a point of stability, to where you want to invite a relationship. It could also too, I mean, I'm like sitting here staring at this fire here. Like there could just be something within you that is burning, you know, like having a desire for stability, or having a desire to share that fire with somebody else. It doesn't even necessarily have to be somebody else. I mean, I'm really only going down that road because we have the Knight of Cups here, we have which is the Son of Cups, and we have the Daughter of Swords. So it is, you know, kind of um, two different, what are they called? Court cards and different suits, you know. So anyway, that's part of the reason. And then of course with the Four of Wands also kind of having that traditional relationship aspect to it. And then we have the Judgment card, which is Pluto. And Pluto traditionally, or in modern astrology, I guess, rules over Scorpio. What's going on? I think Mars is in Scorpio. I'm pretty sure that Mercury just went into Scorpio as well. Is the Sun in Scorpio now? No. Yes? No, not yet. Um, I mean, like Venus will be making its way to Scorpio, or yeah, probably in the next month or so. Anyway, the Judgment card is about transformation, but it's like big. It's like it's not like, you know, because I feel like the Death card is also like a little bit of like transformation. The Temperance card could also be a little bit of transformation as far as like alchemy goes. You know, transforming something into something else. Um, but the Judgment card is the card that comes before the World card. And obviously, we don't have the World card out here, but it's that point of recognizing where you are now, where you've been, and also where you're going. It's recognizing or accepting that things have changed, and maybe your goals, your dreams, your motivations, right? Like your the fire here, like maybe that is the thing that has changed in you. That could have also been something that has been the journey for you. Even, you know, we have this cicada here, and there's the exoskeleton there, and then of course, you know, they have wings now, they can fly now. And it's so interesting to use a cicada as the imagery on this card. I don't know why it feels like kind of random, but also like not at the same time. I remember being a kid and finding cicada little crunchies on the tree in our front yard in Vegas, you know, when I was a kid, and then just hearing them buzzing around and shit. And you know, it like I keep kind of, because this card has come out a few times, and I keep getting this feeling about like kind of going from a land dweller like we are, right, to then being able to see things from like a higher perspective because you have wings, right? Like now you can fly. Even the whole I don't, it keeps going through my head. Red Bull gives you wings. And most of the time in those commercials, right, when they do get wings, they fly off. They literally get up out of there. It could be an opportunity to exit a situation that truly is no longer in alignment with you. And that would be because of your own internal growth, and there's nothing wrong with that. And especially with it being the card before the world card, like the world card I feel would be the actual exit. um the judgment card is the opportunity. And it's also something that, I mean, it's truly within yourself. Like um either either it's an exit that you're creating, or it's literally just a decision. um like a snap decision type of thing, because I feel like this would be saying that there would be an opportunity for that, and that opportunity could be this Knight of Cups, because the Knight of Cups is an offer. The Knight of Cups is usually depicted as being like the knight in shining armor. That's not right. Like we have the Four of Wands, that is, people talk about it in the sense of relationship or marriage, union in some aspect. I'm not a I honestly, I would never get married. I got married twice. I would have never done it if there wouldn't have been a way to get out of it, though. And the way that this country is like going, I would not get married, especially being a woman. I wouldn't do it. I especially wouldn't change my last name. I don't know. Anyway, that's just me. That's just me. But also, I did it twice, and I would never do it again. Um, Not unless there was like some super practical. We had to be married for whatever reason. Like, I don't know what reason that would be. Um, but anyway, tangent. I'm just like, do not get married. Um, I swear, like it sounds like, hang on, BRB. Okay, I don't know. There was like this weird electricity sound. I have no clue where it's coming from, but it's gone now. Okay, well, I don't know. Um, so anyway, sorry. I know we were talking about the Knight of Cups. I can't remember what I've already said already though. But cups have to do with our emotions. you know, how we feel about things, how we feel about ourselves, about our lives, about the people in our lives, what we're doing, who we're spending time with, even to how we express our emotions, how we communicate them, of course, too. Um, and like, how do we manage our emotions? Do we actually even know how we're truly feeling? I keep like looking over. I have this feelings wheel over here. Because there's so many times where I'm like, I don't know the word that to describe, you know, how I'm feeling, but I feel like if I saw the word, I would know, you know, like what it is. So literally, I have this feelings wheel. Um, to help in those times. Because also too, like I feel like it's really easy to get wrapped up in. I am also emotionally defined though, so you know, like I'm an emotional manifesting generator, 5-1 profile. So um I think that probably like has something to do with it. So it would probably be maybe a little different for somebody who is not emotionally defined, and if you are you know, whatever. Anyway, um so yeah, how are you managing? Do you actually know how you feel? Um so, you know, like with the Knight of Cups, like I said, it is usually depicted as like the knight in shining armor, and they are, you know, usually offering their cup. But again, like this Knight of Cups, he's not really offering his cup, right? Like he's drinking from his own cup. And this to me would be the Ace of Cups here. So, you know, I mean, it could be truly like an inner focus for you where you are pouring your energy into yourself. And maybe too, you are working on getting clear on how you're feeling about things, especially in relation to any type of relationship. And of course, you know, that can be romantic, platonic, business. It could be the relationship that you have with yourself as well. Um, this could even be, you know, changing your approach to relationships. If you are in a relationship, it could also be that um, your feelings, and I keep saying like changed because this Knight of Cups is looking at the Judgment card. Also, the left side of the card is the past, the right side of the card is the future, and both of these court cards are looking to the left. So there's something about addressing the past, something about even you know, your feelings on a situation, a relationship, your feelings that you had in a past situation, because it's a learning thing, right? I mean, like we do pull from past experiences to help us in the future, you know? Like again, that trial and error process, that's literally to help you in future situations. This works, that doesn't. I like this, I don't like that. I don't want to do that again. I'd be open to do that again. You know, like so it's to help future stuff. And even this like cavern here where, you know, it is reminding me of like Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, like when they was it the first movie? I don't know. I don't even remember what it was called. You think that I would, because I've was like going through a phase with those movies not that long ago. But it just reminds me of that. But, you know, there's this water, which is actually pretty calm. And then, you know, these rock formations that, you know, it looks like there's this path here. But at the same time, like it almost looks a little ominous or, at least to me, like as I'm looking at it. But the water is pretty calm though. So it's like not as scary as it looks. Maybe is like the message in that. I mean, you know, again, just to wrap up this Knight of Cups, I mean, it could be sending a message. It could also even be an apology, whether you're receiving one or giving one. You know, there's some sort of communication though, and it's some sort of communication having to do with expressing emotions. And then the Page of Swords. Swords have to do with our mind, our thoughts, our mindset, beliefs, ideas, truth, and honesty, logic. I also see swords as being the suit of ego, because that's generally where we tend to hear our ego is in our minds. And our ego is created by the stories that we attach to experiences, circumstances, and it becomes our belief system, right? It becomes the filter that, you know, we consume content, we experience our lives. It goes through that filter of our ego and it kicks out a story. That's why it is absolutely wild that so many people could believe so many different things, you know? um Literally, I mean, have you ever been in a conversation with somebody and you're just like, wow, that is wild, and they're thinking the same thing about you, you know? Like, it's just amazing. That's all ego stuff, you know? That's all beliefs, that's all conditioning too, which a huge thing of human design is about deconditioning your beliefs, deconditioning the way that you approach your life and make decisions and all of that. And truly, it's meant to be a system that helps you. Hello? Um, the words just don't. Uh, Navigate. Holy shit. I could not get that word out. Navigate your life and situations in a way that is helpful, you know, to you. So anyway, the Page of Swords, pages are the apprentices, like they're the newbies, right? Like this is somebody young giving their young ass opinion, being loud and partially informed, you know, like what those type of like it's kind of that type of energy. Also though, you know, like with the Page of Swords, it's being open to different perspectives. You know, it's allowing your beliefs to change. Also, you know, with swords, it's about like intellect and knowledge. Again, logic too, fact. So, you know, it's kind of like putting into practice things that you have learned. And even too, like, does this belief or does this idea of myself, of the world, of relationships, of whatever, um, does that hold water? Does that feel good? Does that work? Does it, it's also, again, allowing your opinions, your ideas, your beliefs to change. Also, even, there's all these different snowflakes in here. And I know like swords sometimes have a correlation with being cold, or like disconnected, or like that type of vibe, especially the Queen of Swords. But it's like cold in the sense of not accepting outside criticism, outside ideas. It's like, no, I'm trying to develop my own system of beliefs. I'm trying to decide what my beliefs are around whatever the situation is for you, without having outside influence is probably the better word for it, because truly all we've had for most of our lives is outside influence, right? Like especially as children, and then as young adults, and as whatever, like there comes a point, hopefully, in most people, where you're like, what do I actually believe? Like I have all this information, all these experiences, all of this conditioning, right? Like I know all of that was given to me or whatever. But where do I fall into all of that? Because we can change our beliefs. You can change your opinion about yourself. You can change your opinion about anything else. Like you can reinvent yourself literally, I mean, as many times as you effing want to. The hard part is that, a lot of our identities are rooted in community. I'm pointing at the Four of Wands here. So that's sometimes like the hard part is, if I change this aspect of myself, is it going to change my relationship to my community? Sometimes it will. And if it does, it's usually for the better. Sometimes it won't. That's either way, that's no reason to not, you know. Let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. And if you're still here, thank you so much. And if you haven't done so already, I would absolutely love it if you subscribe to the channel. It helps me grow. It helps YouTube, show my videos to more people. Like the video, save it, leave a comment, say hi. I love that. But those are all like free ways to support me and the channel, and I truly do appreciate it. Look at this. We have the Ace of Swords at the bottom of the deck. I kind of love that it's an ace. I mean, I love that it's the Ace of Swords too, but I love that it's an ace nonetheless. And all the stuff that we were talking about with, literally just talking about with the Page of Swords, the Ace of Swords is like that new perspective. Aces are brand new, right? So again, swords, all of the things that we talked about, it's a new perspective. It's a new idea, discovering new information. Also, even like honoring or discovering a truth like within yourself, like being true to yourself. I love that, the sword is also, kind of a feather as well, because it's like, it's not a sharp instrument type of thing, right? Like that sharpness is in there, but like with the feather aspect around it, it's almost kind of softening, even maybe communication around it. It's like there's no arguing, there's no also even like I'm not entirely sure on this whole thing either, but I was just getting this image in my head of like the scales of justice, and how is it a thing where like on one side they put a feather and on the other side they like put a heart or something, and it's like weighing your intentions, or you know what I like, is that a thing or am I making that up? But there is like a purity in the sense of your intentions are becoming more pure because they're based on like your own truth. I'm just honestly really not even a fan of the word purity, because anytime I think of that, like I think of purity like culture and religion and shit, like it just makes me bleh. But so I'm like I wanted to like clarify like your intentions, your truth, even to your mindset, because I'm thinking like light as a feather, light as a feather, light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board. um but maybe we all need to watch the movie Craft. But yeah, just something becoming lighter, and that could be again like your mindset changing, the acceptance, honoring that truth, right? And it just kind of calms down the mechanisms in our brain. It stops the hamster wheel. Beautiful. I'm leaving it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.